What is up, my friends? Chuck here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the M3. I hope the Subaru people will stick around though, because maybe you'll learn something about the European car stuff. Anyway, so common on European cars, German stuff, etc., you will find something that you're not used to seeing on a lot of other cars, and that is the lug bolt. So this is a lug nut like you're used to seeing on most probably American and Japanese stuff. Threads onto a stud after you put your wheel on. This is a pretty common thing on German/European stuff where you don't have a stud and a nut, you just have a bolt. This spins directly into the hub, holding the wheels on. We are going to be swapping the M3 to not use these anymore and use the wheel studs with lug nuts. We'll talk about that in a second, but that's the gist of what we're doing today. Alrighty, so I know the question's gonna be, why do that? Why do that, Chuck? Why make the swap? Why spend the money, etc.? Well, there's a lot of differing opinions on whether the lug bolt or the lug nut / stud combination is better. Arguably, the stud is actually one less part to potentially have an issue with. You don't have the hub plus the stud plus the nut. You just have the hub and the wheel lug bolt. So that's one less thing to worry about. Some people think they're a little bit harder to get wheels on because I don't think that's that big a deal. You put the wheel on, it kind of hangs on the hub, and you just turn it until you get the direct hole. Not that big a deal. The reason why I'm interested in it is actually because the amount of times that you're taking wheels off and on track style vehicles where you go to the track, swap your wheels and tires. Throughout the year, you're doing brake flushes, brake maintenance, just kind of generally. You take the wheels off and on a lot on track vehicles, and I'd rather put the wear on a easily replaceable part rather than the hub itself. So every time you take a wheel stud or a wheel bolt and turn it into the hub, you're putting a little bit of wear on the hub, and the hub is kind of annoying and annoying to replace. So instead of replacing the hub, now you can replace the lug studs that I'm going to show you here in a minute. Again, maybe marginal improvements in long-term maintenance, maybe not, but I'm just going to do it because it's not too expensive. It's about $100, and yeah, let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so this is what we have right now. Wheel bolt, it's got basically this screws into the hub. What we're going to replace it with is mounting this in the hub, and then this will be our new lug nut. So it'll basically look like that when we're done. A little bit longer, as you can tell, just allows the ability to potentially run spacers. These come in varying lengths, as do lug bolts, I should say. So these studs can be annoying if you want to constantly switch around spacers, because you got to make sure you have the longer stud lengths, and you got to have like pass-through lug nuts, etc. These you can just buy longer ones and you're good. So this is going to basically replace this on every single wheel or every single hub. All right, so really quickly, this is what the current wheel lugs look like, lug bolts. They basically just, they just screw directly in. I already did the front wheel over here, so let me show you. This is what we're gonna replace them with. So you'll now have the studs coming through and the lug nuts sliding onto these studs. Maybe a little bit more race car look versus the cleaner studs, but I'm okay with that. A lot of people ask me how to get the wheels off the car when it's a 4-post lift and your wheels are sitting on the ramps. One of the ways to do it is basically just use a jack on the platform here and lift the car exactly as you would. These platforms are really wide. I don't know the exact width, I could probably get it for you, but at least like 20 inches wide. So this is kind of a heavier duty scissor jack than you would find in your trunk, but these work. As well as this is kind of like the lowest budget option. They do have like $1,000 lift that goes through the middle to like lift the body and stuff, which is cool. Maybe we'll do that one day, but for now, we have these. Plus I have that center jack thing that slides the length of the car so you can lift both sides at the same time. Anyway, this is one of the options. Alrighty, now you can see how this works. So this is the wheel bolt. Oh, this is the wheel bolt. These just thread in here. So every time you're threading through the brake caliper or through the brake rotor into the actual hub. So if there were ever any problems with these threads, you'd have to replace the hub. Let's say you cross-threaded this bolt or something, jacked it up. There's just constantly wear and tear going on these threads. Not that big a deal if you don't change your wheels that often. Could potentially be an issue if you do change your wheels a lot often. So I don't know, I'm just kind of being preventative here and swapping out these studs. How this works basically is if this is what we had before in its place, we are going to thread this. So you see I'm replacing this with this guy, and then a lug nut will hold it on here. Alrighty, they're all 5 in and torqued to spec. I coated the hub in some anti-seize just because for whatever reason this hub and those wheels like to kind of grab each other. But from here, basically you throw the wheel on and then you put your lug nuts on. And it'll work exactly like it would on any other car you're kind of used to. Makes it a little bit easier to get the wheel on because then you just thread it basically through the holes. Again, that's not really a big complaint for me. My major benefit I can see from this is that it's serviceable in the sense that like if you screw up these threads, the threads in the hole in the hub are in there for now. They're torqued. They won't have any wear and tear on them really, at least threading in and out. This is going to take the wear and tear now, these threads, and these are replaceable. So I can buy 1, 2, 10, however many I need, back this guy back out, put a new one in. We should be good to go. So let's throw the wheel back on and this side will be done. For all my channel OGs, Shop Dog's out here today helping. I got all the antifreeze and stuff cleaned up so she can be back out here. What are you doing? Come here. Come here. Good girl. Yeah. You're small. You're so small. All right, so we got all 4 wheels done. Lug studs with lug nut conversion. All of them are torqued to spec. This side as well. And then squeeze through here. Same thing over here. All done. All done. So we need to take the car for a ride to make sure that we didn't introduce any weird vibrations or anything. It should drive exactly the same, but whenever you're messing with wheels and lug torque and everything, it's best just to take it for a short ride and see what happens. So let's do that and then we'll wrap the video up. All right, going for a test drive, we want to accomplish 2 things. One is to make sure that there's nothing weird about the wheel studs and lugs that we just installed. And then 2 is I cleaned the bottom of the engine and transmission like maybe a week or 2 ago. If you check me out on Instagram, I put up a picture of it because I want to make sure there's no other oil leaks or any other coolant leaks or anything weird before track season starts. So I want to get the car kind of warmed up and cycled to make sure nothing else is seeping out now that it's nice and clean down there. Otherwise, we gotta add an item or 2 to the to-do list before spring comes. So far, we got no weirdness in the wheels, just going kind of slowly through a couple neighborhoods here. I don't feel any weird vibrations or shuddering or anything weird, so that's a good sign. Safe to take it up at some higher speeds and see what happens. At highway speeds, we got no issues, so we should be good. I'm gonna re-torque them in a few days, but let's go back to the garage and check for the leak. All right, bad news. Confirmed, oil pan gasket is leaking. Looks like it's seeping right here. And it's also seeping right here. So, oil pan gasket's gonna have to be replaced. That is not great news. It's a lot of work, but it's gotta be done. So to do that, we gotta drop the subframe to get the oil pan out, which is probably not going to be fun. The other bad news is that the radiator cap, or the little breather thing, I believe is leaking as well. I tried to mess with it and accidentally had it spew all over me. I tried to adjust the tightness of the little breather thing, and I went too far, and it like loses pressure and spews coolant everywhere. So that's unfortunate. Now I gotta clean this crap up again underneath here. That's how it goes sometimes. So anyway, appreciate you guys watching. That's how you do a wheel stud conversion. Pretty easy. It's like I said, some people love it, some people hate it. It's up to you, you know what I mean? Whether you think you're gonna get a benefit out of it or not. I decided to do it now because the bolts, the lug bolts that I have, I believe are original. They look pretty old, they're kind of rusted and corroded. I needed to get a new set anyway, so I figured instead of just buying a new set of those, I'm just gonna go ahead and do the conversion so I can get it out of the way now. So that's all I got. Sometimes we don't always end on a high note. I got more work to do now, but that's it's part of the game of owning an old car. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.